What if AI could tap into decades of L&D research to guide your toughest learning decisions instantly?
So you may be tasked today with rolling out a program across multiple states or across several countries. Well, you could ask Tia how best to do that, and she will access both the research we have and all of the articles that have been written about that, give you the best answer, sourcing it specifically to where she got it.
That's Training Industries CEO Ken Taylor. Ken and Amanda Longo, Training Industries VP of Brand Strategy, joined DaVinci President Mason Scuderi and me to talk about Tia, Training Industries' new AI-powered assistant that can help you find the resources you need to manage the business of learning. Next on Powered by Learning.
Powered by Learning is brought to you by DaVinci Interactive. DaVinci's approach to learning is grounded in 30 years of innovation and expertise. We use proven strategies and leading technology to develop solutions that empower learners to improve quality and boost performance. Learn more at davinci.com.
Joining me now are DaVinci President Mason Scuderi and our guests, Ken Taylor and Amanda Longo from Training Industry. And we're going to talk about their new AI-powered assistant, Tia, today. Welcome to Powered by Learning, Ken and Amanda.
Good to see you, Ken and Amanda.
Great to be here.
Yeah.
Looking forward to the conversation.
Very excited to talk about Tia today.
Well, great. We're so glad you could join us, and it's so good to see you again. And Ken, while I'm sure our listeners are very familiar with your organization, just share a little bit about what Training Industry is.
Training Industry is a community of people all focused on helping organizations improve the performance of their employees. So we have a couple 100,000 active members that come to our website, share stories, share ideas, read about what's happening from a research perspective, trying to understand trends. It's really just a place and a series of resources there to help training people be better at what they do.
That's great. I know we at DaVinci have leaned on Training Industry. It's a very valuable resource, and we certainly appreciate you being there and appreciate the partnership. Talk a little bit about, Ken and Amanda, what you're both responsible for at Training Industry so people understand where you're coming from.
I can jump in. Amanda Longo. I am the Vice President of Brand Strategy here at Training Industry. And basically that means that I help oversee not just the strategy of the messaging we have for Training Industry, but all of our sub-brands, Certified Professional in Training Management, the Training Industry Conference and Expo. So trying to make sure that no matter where a learning leader might find us, they understand that whatever they're looking at, it's not the only thing we do, and it's not the only way we can help them. So really trying to make sure that our audience knows that Training Industry is your partner, no matter what you're doing in learning and development. If you're in the corporate space, you should be talking to us.
Ken, what about you?
I'm the CEO here at Training Industry, and it's been a fun 20 years for sure. We have just a great opportunity to work with so many companies, both on buy side and supply side of this market. It's been a great journey.
Well, now we're taking things to the next step with another great tool. And I know Mason and I are looking forward to hearing more about Tia.
Oh, absolutely. We're excited to learn more. Well, Ken, let's kick things off with the big picture. Training Industry has spent 20 years putting together knowledge and resource about the L&D industry. What inspired you to take all of that and put it into an AI tool?
Yeah, that was both the blessing and the curse of Training Industry, is that there is so much content and so many opinions about how to improve programs, about how to structure them, about how to source them. We felt we were getting to the point where it was really difficult for somebody to try and navigate through all of the content and information that we have to kind of get to the best answers. We always kind of believed that if somebody contacted us, we would help them make the connection to what was important and what they should be thinking about. But that obviously doesn't scale very well. So we started looking at AI agent platforms early days, and we're looking for a way to kind of get the same quality answer to the kinds of questions that we were getting every day, but done by an agent.
That's amazing. Sounds like a big effort.
It was certainly a journey. Yes, it was.
Well, I got to interface with a version of Tia at the 2025 Training Industry Expo, but give us the larger landscape of how training professionals can access and get involved with Tia.
Yeah, so if you're a member of Training Industry, you get access to TIA plus a bunch of other really cool membership type of products and services. But the point is, this is it's an app where you can leave it on all the time and just have it there as sort of a helper as you're working through your daily job. So you may be tasked today with rolling out a program across multiple states or across several countries. Well, you could ask Tia how best to do that, and she will access both the research we have and all of the articles that have been written about that subject, and give you the best answer, sourcing it specifically to where she got it.
That's amazing.
It was super interesting when we were kind of doing the early work. I think the single most important thing to us when we were doing vendor selection and actually going through the criteria was the notion of attribution, because Training Industry is a collection of voices, right? It's not just Amanda.
It's your opinions, right?
It's not our opinions. It's a whole world of opinions. So what we really wanted to make sure is that if you asked Tia a question, that Tia would tell you not only the answer but where she got it. So you can go and read that particular article in full if you like. So that was super important when we were going through the initial criteria, because we've ingested into her all of the videos that we felt were of high quality from our webinar series, which is quite extensive, research reports that we've written over the years, and then 10,000 articles. Like it's a crazy amount of content. It's interesting too, the way it's architected is it's not like ChatGPT where you just ask a question and it gives you an answer sourced from somewhere. We put the boundaries up that she can only answer the questions with the information available through Training Industry. So because we vet things like through our magazine submissions, like we have sort of a hierarchy of content, she's able to answer most questions using content that exists and has been vetted. So that was super important to us too. So there's like guardrails around how she can answer and what she can answer.
That's really smart. Amanda, once this whole idea took shape, you really helped bring it to life with Ken and the team. What was it like to take decades of content from articles to podcasts, all the research, and turn it into something that now people can use to chat with directly on the Training Industry platform?
Well, it's as exciting as you would expect, and even more so because my boss gave me a deadline of about 4 months.
He's a tough one, I've heard, yeah.
As bosses often do. Oh, well, I think he knows if he tells me to get it done, that I'm probably going to do it. So, but it felt like if you were about to have a moving day in a house you'd lived in for 20 years, and you had to figure out everything that you did have, decide what was really important, and then how to move it. So, like we've already talked about, we've spent decades building up our content, hundreds and hundreds of hours of webinars and podcasts and thousands of articles, as Ken mentioned. So the first step was actually just tracking and taking stock of everything that we had, and then how it was already being stored, because that was what came into play for the next portion, which was figuring out how to get all of this knowledge into these digital banks that our agent could then be upskilled on. So we were then very intentional, I'll say, organizing the content so that the AI agent could ingest things, and then based on content type and current location. So ingesting the thousands of articles from our website was a bit of a different process than ingesting hundreds of hours of webinars that we were storing on another site. So once all that was done, the real fun actually began. What I really enjoyed was helping Tia become one of the team members, right? So getting her upskilled in such a way that she acts as an extension of one of our team members, so that it does feel like you're at our conference. And, I've turned around and Susan, you're just sitting right there at the lunch table, and we have a really great conversation that's based on all of this content that, has come across our editorial and research desks here at Training Industry over the years. So we got to ask her really messy, real world L&D questions. We tried to trip her up, asking her for confidence she didn't have. And then we were really able to shape the way she answered so that she did emulate the tone and the type of ways that we speak and our contributors speak, and the language of learning. It was a lot. It was a lot. But, it changed that experience of like, oh gosh, we have so much content. Let me figure out if I can find the top, most recent, most relative 5 resources and stitch them together. It went from that to just having like a working session with everything training industry has learned over the last 20 years. It's like magic.
That you keep adding to as well. So it's not like you're not done. I mean, Tia is not a done project. She's a work in progress for sure.
Yes. She's a lifelong learner, just like the rest of us.
Yeah, we've been adding hundreds of hours of additional videos, and we changed the way Tia can use research reports, for example. So there's been a lot of thought, and there's also, we're very particular at training industry about way we answer certain questions, because a lot of people will call us up and say, well, who should we purchase this from? And so it's easy to always have an answer to that question, but we don't believe it's fair to our clients. So we've really tried to make sure that she would answer the way we would answer. So that she would ask you a question, well, what kind of a project is that we're talking about? Have you looked at the top 20 list? Some of those things versus just pick, Da Vinci.
Which is a great choice, I will say.
Of course, that would be the right answer, but my point was that would be unfair to everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to spend some time on some of those behaviors to make sure it was handled correctly.
Amanda, one of the things that we've learned about Tia is its transparency. And so when you ask for a result from Tia, she gives you information, but really explicitly shows where that information comes from. And if Tia doesn't know something, like, she's transparent and lets you know that she doesn't. Why were those features important, and how do they shape the user experience?
Transparency about sources matters. I'll just period that. So when Tia was being built, showing her sources, especially considering our background, right? When you're on Training Industry's website, when you're at our events, you're not just hearing from us, you're hearing from 500 plus global contributors who are doing the job every day. So we really wanted users to be able to trust the answers that they were getting and not trust it blindly. They can click into the source, like Ken said. They can check where the information comes from. They can click into the links. They can compare different authors' experiences based on like vertical and if it's more relevant to them. So this helps them feel more control, obviously, in the experience they're having with the agent, and really minimizes AI anxiety, which I feel is quite high still. So the second part of that, and kind of touching on what Ken mentioned before, was that when Tia doesn't know something, she just tells you, I don't know anything about that, which, further builds integrity that not just Tia, but the company that has created her is really focused on making sure that you're going to get vetted answers that are actionable and trusted. So from a business side for us, it was just really important to stop the system from giving like boldly, wildly wrong answers, so that we can create the space for the user to jump in, clarify what it is they're looking for, add some context so it can feel more like solving a problem together.
The only thing I'll add to that is we had, in the early days of AI, had been doing some testing, and we had become pretty convinced pretty quickly that the quality of the answers that you were getting to some of the questions weren't very good. In fact, we would ask it things like, please share with me the 10 best articles on how to put together a leadership development program. And, ChatGPT at the day would come back with a really, really forceful answer that these are the 10 articles, none of which existed. They were all combinations of words and phrases that looked perfect. In fact, topically, some of the authors that they sourced even could have written on a subject like that, but they didn't write that particular article. And so that gave us pause right away. It's like, well, hold on a minute. If that's even remotely possible, the last thing we want to do is have somebody come to training industry and have that kind of experience. Well, here's like 10 made up article names that you should go check out.
Well, and that answers the question, too, that listeners might be thinking, like, why wouldn't I just use a ChatGPT, a Copilot, or some of the other AI tools? Tia is built differently to learn from those articles and resources you already have on file.
Exactly. She has boundaries. And her data bank is just what we put in there. We don't allow her or permit her to answer questions with outside data. So technically, we could allow her, if she didn't have an answer, to go to ChatGPT or to go to Google and search it, but we chose not to. We said, no, it's much better to say, that's really not a subject I know anything about, so, wish I could help you, but I can't.
Yeah, I think we'd really rather have her imagination capabilities be grounded on a foundation in reality, right? So, yes, imagine what this learning program could be within the context of all of this other real data that's already embedded in your knowledge banks.
That really shows the power of a more focused AI tool versus some of the other general options that we're all familiar with.
And they're getting better, no question, but there's still that risk where, again, I think all of the models are taking attribution more seriously now, and you're starting to see that as a lot more common, which is great because that's how it should be. I mean, as a publisher, as part of what we do is we publish content. It always pains me a little bit when you don't give the person who created the content the credit. So we like the direction that they're heading now with the large language models where they're actually sourcing.
Well, Amanda, let's talk about how people are actually using TIA. Can you give us some examples about how L&D leaders are interfacing with TIA?
Sure, I'd love to. Well, they are really using it in very practical ways that kind of fit right into their day-to-day work, right? So some are asking for full training programs, which is really great because TIA is built with a capability to kind of take you through all of the base level questions. How many days? How many people? Is it a dispersed workforce? People are asking if it needs to be multimodal or something more specific, and then they're able to give outlines and outlines, timing, activities, and a full plan. And of course, it's a draft, but man, that draft came to you in about 3 seconds. So a small conversation, and it's like your personal assistant has just given you what a real personal assistant probably would have taken 3 to 10 days to provide to you. We've seen other people kind of lean on it for strategy, right? So really big this last fall, of course, was building a 2026 learning plan on a tight budget. How to shape an upskilling roadmap, maybe for a specific vertical. There's drafting of an L&D mission. So it really runs the gamut of what the learning leader is using or invested in that day. So I'm excited as we're getting into year 2-ish here, 2.5-ish. I'm excited to start being able to look at trends over time. So obviously in the fall, we know they're looking at their planning programs for the next year, but I'm interested to see what are they asking right when they get back in January? What does it feel like in the middle of the summer that learning leaders are really doing and using TIA for? So I think what's interesting to watch is that what we are finding is members really are using it in the flow of work. It's normal work day times. It's not the usual work day times. It's not like users go in and I'm using TIA every day at 9 a.m. No, it's all over the place. It's based on the need, which is wonderful that she's able to support these people when they are looking for answers, and they're able to find that, completely contextualized, specific next step without having to spend 30, 40 minutes, an hour, 2 days researching on who knows where online or at Training Industry, even if you're just searching all of our articles.
Well, you're all about, making that data meaningful to Training Industry members and followers. And it sounds like TIA is actually helping you. I think, Ken, you mentioned that you're using it as an internal tool as well, because you can kind of monitor what some of these trends are from how people are using TIA.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, our internal team now knows what we have, which is a big thing, but also knows what we don't have. So when there are certain question areas that that again fall within the expertise of a learning leader, right? So when you're in that zone, if there are certain things that we haven't covered off, like perhaps, I don't know, maybe we're not very deep on how to structure a compliance program. Well, maybe we can go and get some more content on that. So we're able to look at what questions she's not answering well or not answering at all. I think the thing I think the one area that we've had to do some member education on is that TIA is not meant to create your course. TIA is meant to help you prepare to create your course. She's not a subject matter expert on medical devices or on any subject like that. She's a subject matter expert on learning and development. And I think that's been the biggest coaching or the biggest nudge we've had to give the community, just to make sure they understand, like, well, no, you can't ask it to build a training program for field managers, because she'll give you an outline, she'll tell you how it should be structured, what it should include, but not topically be.
Yeah, and there are so many other tools that can help with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, it's awesome that TIA is included with your training industry membership. But I know there's other benefits that come with that. Amanda, can you tell us a little bit more about how TIA is connected to the peer and expert community?
Sure. I don't think Ken made a wild choice in picking me in doing this work and helping with this special project in building TIA, because as the kind of the holder of our training industry messaging, I know better than anyone else that at our core, we make connections. It's part of our DNA. If it's focused on the business of learning, if you need to talk to someone, you need a resource, we are passionate about helping you get that. And so there was no question in our mind that if we were going to build this AI agent, we had to partner it with a vibrant online community. We needed to recreate kind of the energy you feel at our in-person events around very passionate practitioners sharing best practices. And so members shouldn't use TIA in isolation. They should use TIA as a springboard and then shift into the community, right? When someone drafts a training plan or a learning strategy with the agent, they can then bring that into the member forums, the groups, the soon-to-be live sessions that we're going to have, to just ask, has anyone done this before? As Ken was saying, if she gives you kind of like the prep to do something, maybe you take that prep into the community and you ask, but I'm doing it in this context, can anybody help me take it a bit further? So you are not just working with your AI agent in the dark somewhere. You have all of these learning leaders who might not be next to you in your office, in your department, in your company even, but they're experiencing the same challenges that you are, and sometimes have already conquered those challenges. So it's a great way to vet the information you're getting or clarify things further and get that human element of support.
And just one thing to add to that too is the training industry's employees are all on there also in the community. So a lot of times we'll see a question come in and go like, oh, we have an answer for that.
Nice.
And so we'll share the answer, because we just, there may be an editor who just happened to have written a great article on that piece, or just edited a recent research report that covered that exact topic. It's just make the connection,
Yeah, I think in that way, to Ken's point, the agent and the peer network kind of feeding into each other turns membership into this ongoing connected learning experience rather than the one-off interaction you're going to get with a general agent like ChatGPT.
Well, what an exciting platform. Thank you for sharing it with us today. And we're excited to get further integrated with TIA here at DaVinci Interactive and dive in deeper. So to kind of wrap things up for today, why don't you tell us what's next for TIA, what features are on the horizon, and what can we look forward to?
One that excites me is the possibility for voice interaction with her. And that's because I'm a slow typer. So anything I can do to help there is great. But I think that's really exciting. The newer versions of the large language models that TIA runs on are getting better and better. So we anticipate her getting better at what she does too. So that's also pretty exciting. And just all of the new content that's coming out of training industry and getting that content in it, and then having it being served in a way that's super easy for people to interact with. I think those are the big ones for me.
Yeah, I would second all of that. I would also say that, there's more and more opportunities for there to be kind of more focused agents. So maybe in the future, you'll see from us role-based or topic-based agents. So drilling down even further into expertise so that you can hone in on a specific area that you're focused on at work. But going back to what's paired with the agent in our community, I mentioned there's soon to be several weekly events with some of our industry experts on the team. And so I know that and some of our contributors not on our team, and I know that they'll be in there talking about using TIA to solve these problems and then how they're actually solving them. So just another opportunity for growing those connections between learning leaders and the technology that supports them in their initiatives.
Sounds awesome. We look forward to seeing more.
Thank you, Ken and Amanda, for joining us today. And thank you for sharing information about your AI agent, Tia, and how she's continuing to build a great sense of community within training industry.
Really loved being here for today's event.
Thanks so much, Ken and Amanda. We'll talk to you soon.
My thanks to DaVinci President Mason Scuderi and our guests, Ken Taylor and Amanda Longo from Training Industry. If you have an idea for a topic or a guest, please reach out to us at poweredbylearning@davinci.com. And don't forget that you can subscribe to Powered by Learning wherever you listen to your podcasts.